Now we can move on to the second segment where we talk about your career and football. Maybe introduce like what you do at work, like how much time do you spend at work, or like what's the situation like now?
So what I do at work. So I'm in litigation. So that is your typical courtroom lawyer that you see on TV and everything. So of course, what you see on TV is the end lah. That's the trial. But prior to that, there's a lot of other applications that you take out uh, from day one all the way before you get to trial. So those are known as interlocutory applications. So as litigation lawyers, what we do is we fight uh, lawsuits lah. Okay, so lawsuits will entail all those applications that I spoke about and those various court attendances that are required before you actually hit trial. So that's what we do. We prepare our clients for the eventual trial lah. I mean, aside from uh, you know the lawsuits itself, we also do a lot of we do some advisory work as well. Prior to commencing a lawsuit, we advise our clients whether or not there's a viable cause of action, whether you can reach a settlement with the other side without going to court actually, because going to court is actually quite time consuming for the party. It's very expensive as well. So sometimes if there's alternatives, we will offer them to consider alternative dispute resolution. So for example, mediation is getting more and more popular in Singapore. But sometimes you need to start a suit before people are willing to negotiate with you. So uh, actually this actually is quite similar to what I mentioned previously about the strategy in soccer. I'm starting to see some overlaps here. um, how you get to what you want to achieve at the end of the day. There are many ways to skin a cat lah. So the thing I do appreciate about litigation is that there are many things you can do to get to what you want, what your clients want at the end of the day, and that brainstorming process, coming up with different strategies to, for example, increase my bargaining power, or to just present to the other side that we do have a strong defense. For example, we do have a viable counterclaim. For example, all these are factors that we will consider to mount a good case for our clients lah. So time wise, I think after COVID, it got a bit better in that we are now ready to work from home. So I don't actually have to spend so much time in the office, although I do go back regularly nowadays. But the nature of the work is that you can't expect a 9 to 6 job lah. Sometimes urgent things happen or calls come in. You have to attend to it.
It does sound like work is quite time consuming. So how do you find the time to still play football?
Phew. Yeah, it's quite time consuming. But sometimes what I do is that I do see football as a break for myself. Maybe instead of getting stressed at work, I get stressed on the field, but it's a different kind of stress. Yeah, I see it as a kind of break, a break for myself. And also at the end of the day, I like to think that there are certain tasks that I do which may not need the entire time that I set myself for it. So for example, if I think that this task may take if let's say I have 10 hours in a day that I'm free, I will not try to use this 10 hours fully lah. Because these 10 hours, maybe only 5 hours or 6 hours are productive. The rest I might just be scrolling my phone or like watching YouTube or just getting distracted or just thinking and not actually getting down to doing it. So there's this saying, which is time expense to fill work lah. So when I factor in my other commitments like soccer or my other volunteering commitments, I park it in there. And then this actually forces myself to be more productive and efficient when it comes to doing the work. I mean, it sounds great now lah, but it's a struggle when I actually do it. It's of course it's easy to say, But that's how I try to approach it lah. Like
Oh.
I actually don't need so much time to do the task. I actually can get it done. I just shouldn't sit on it. And so because I am not intrinsically motivated, I can't tell myself, okay, Lynn, you don't need 10 hours, you just need 5. You better finish this in 5. If there's nothing else at me, I may just take the whole 10. But if I'm like, hey, actually I gotta go, I really should get this done. This actually indirectly it does help make me become more efficient. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I think I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Right.
So I see it that way lah, and in a way it does promote some time management skills as well.
Mm. Okay, then would you say that playing football has influenced or like impacted your work? Are there like some skills or lessons you learned from football that like translate into your work?
So I think when we think about skills, we will be thinking of something which are more like soft skills lah. And if you're watching this and you're not sure, there are actually a lot of soft skills that can be transferred from your football or sporting career journey into work, because all these are actually skills that you pick up and you grow as a person, and these actually come in useful whether or not you are playing on the field or you're in the courtroom or you're in a business meeting. So I think Steph, I mentioned earlier that time management, does factor in quite greatly in my day to day lah. I really need to manage time if I want to do all these, right? Another thing about football that help, I guess, is discipline. So as a student or as a player last time, we all had to go through all this necessary pain lah. And sometimes at work, you really just have to go through some painful days to get the work done. Sometimes the work we do is very document intensive. We need to go through everything. Sometimes we have to push through the late nights as well. So I do think that discipline is quite a big thing lah. Another thing that I think would be quite I would say relevant to my line of work is that when I was playing, I started to realize that actually I might be a bit competitive in a team setting. I never really considered myself as a competitive student. Like my grades, it was just like okay lah, never mind. But when it came to a team sport, I was like, oh my god, we cannot lose. We cannot lose. We must win. Or like we cannot, even if we cannot win, never mind. We just cannot lose, or we cannot make it easy for them. And then I realized that actually this mindset and mentality, to some extent, is actually quite helpful for my nature of work lah, which is litigation, which involves putting my client's best case forward, taking out applications to help them further their interests against others, and sometimes the other side can be quite aggressive as well. So how do we uh, get past that lah, fight that, not fight lah, but deal with that lah. Yeah, I accidentally said fight.
Competitive.
Yeah. So actually I do see quite a bit of relevance lah when you talk about all these skills and work. And like I mentioned previously, the strategies that we come up with for football, and how we do at work is also quite similar. For example, if you know that this team gets flustered easily, or they are under pressure, a lot of pressure to win you, then every minute that you hold them is a victory to yourself already. So similarly, you may have a very aggressive opponent on the other end. You need to be able to manage that and use whatever facts, whatever documents, whatever information your client has given you to the best of your ability lah. And that involves a lot of strategizing as well. It's not just going in blindly to fight. Or if they say something you disagree, you must fight them on. Sometimes we'll think, okay, if I say something to refute them, will this help my case, or will I end up shooting myself in the foot sometime a few months later? So all these are what I say are the soft skills that are actually relevant across whether or not you are playing football, basketball, handball, or anything, or just working as a lawyer or any other profession lah. when you look beyond just running and kicking and catching, there are a lot of overlaps, I would say.